Welcome, everyone. It's time to talk about love. I'm Dr. Marcia Martin, the heart healer, and in addition to helping you heal your heart from all sorts of trauma, abuse, limiting beliefs, negativity, and pain, I also am a clairaudient angel communicator. So what I'm going to share with you today is all about love that the angels have shared with me. And we do have a lot to cover. So let's get started. First of all, let's take a look at what love is. And in order to do that, I looked at the dictionary. And it says that love is a personal attachment of deep affection. And this is generally centered around another person. And when we're in a relationship with another person, it is really important to understand what creates a healthy relationship. So let's dive right in. A healthy relationship is unconditional. Instead of trying to change everything about yourself or another person, you accept the other person or yourself exactly as you are. And let's remember that a healthy relationship is kind, honest, and understanding. Kind, uplifting to be around. A person who doesn't drag you down. Honest, someone who enjoys telling the truth instead of telling a tall tale to make themselves look better. And then understanding. You allow yourself or others to make a mistake, to offer an apology, and to correct the behavior. And it's so important that we do not keep ourselves in these narrow boxes that do not allow for growth. So let's always remember that understanding may include needing to upgrade your behavior, but that is easy and acceptable in a healthy relationship. In a healthy relationship, you are patient, accepting, and forgiving. So patient doesn't mean that you put up with just anything. It means that there is time for yourself, time for your friends, time to get things done, to learn, to grow, and to develop. Accepting. You accept yourself and others the way they are without needing to be condemning or critical. And that gives you not only the room to grow, but the desire to grow. Do you know, often when we are criticized or when somebody constantly tells us everything that we're doing that's wrong, it doesn't allow us to expand. Instead, we begin contracting as though it is difficult for us to process the information. And that's because it is. If you are constantly being criticized, you don't end up feeling good about yourself. You feel much less, much smaller than you really are. It also includes forgiving, and I mentioned earlier that that is so important, that an apology is offered. Changed behavior is the indicator that you should be forgiven and that you really are wanting to create this new behavior. But let's say you made a mistake and you're the one that needs to offer the apology. If your partner, your significant other, continues to hold that incident over your head like a dagger, that is not a healthy relationship. That could be abuse, depending on the degree and the severity. But that is something that you need to take account. Just don't assume that someone else's behavior is acceptable. It is also important that you set and hold healthy boundaries. And this means that you would be able to say to yourself, I feel comfortable doing this or saying this. I feel respected, honored, seen, and heard. Boundaries are not about being right. Boundaries are not about being angry, holding a grudge, or being hostile. Healthy boundaries are not an opportunity to be mean. Healthy boundaries simply say, I will or will not participate in this particular experience. And remember, too, that boundaries should be flexible. As you grow, what you are and are not willing to participate in may also change. So you might say something like, well, I love to get up early, so I'll never stay up past 11 p.m. But then you have a newborn baby in the house, and you find that you may be up at midnight, at 2 a.m., at 4 a.m., at whenever you are needed. So please don't introduce rigidity into your life. Instead, allow yourself to flow. A healthy relationship, just like every other aspect of life, includes flexibility and provides support. It's a give and receive. It cannot just be a give, give, give. It's never a one-way street. Now, it is so important that you understand that even though when we are talking about loving relationships, we generally are talking about the relationship that you are having with another person, let's not forget about you. The most important person to love first is yourself, because truly you are the most important person in every relationship. And I say this not from a selfish standpoint, but rather from this understanding that if you are not okay, everyone that you interact with and everything that you touch will also intersect with that not okayness. So if you truly want to be feeling your best and bringing your best to any relationship, and it doesn't matter whether it is personal friendships, a work relationship, or a romantic relationship, if you are really interested in that relationship thriving, then it's important that you bring your best self to the relationship and that you ask that your partner also does the same. Two broken people does not make a whole or successful relationship. It just creates another broken entity that is going to be dysfunctional sooner or later. So, please, start with yourself. Stop looking at what's wrong. Get excited about what's right. What do you do well? And I guarantee you, you have something. You may have forgotten what it is, but keep looking. You do something well. How are you unique? What are the special skills or talents that you bring to the table better or differently from everyone else? And what do you love about you? Find just one thing that you love about yourself and concentrate on that to the exclusion of all else. There was a really famous psychological study done, I think it was maybe in the 80s, maybe even earlier. But this study said, for every one critical thought, or not a thought, for every one critical statement that an elementary school child hears, it takes 9 uplifting statements, inspirational and motivational statements, to overcome the damage that has been inflicted. Now, none of us are going to go back to being elementary school age again. But we can reparent our inner child by reminding ourselves of what is right about you, right in this moment. If you're trying to lose weight, you do not need to stand in the mirror and point out that you are overweight. Instead, if you are looking in the mirror, tell yourself how lovely another aspect of you is. Concentrate on what's right. That will allow you to keep the motivation to fix whatever it is that you feel you want to improve. We are hardwired to improve, so you focusing on what's right is not going to make what's wrong stay there forever. It's going to give you the energy you need in order to make the change, make the positive change that you're desiring. So remember, you first, and you looking at what's right. You are going to naturally rise, and as you rise, not only do you take yourself with you, but you inspire others. Honoring and respecting yourself and others is so important, and it is going to bring you a much more beautiful quality of life. Now, part of that honoring and respecting yourself is not just getting focused on the spiritual, but remembering and respecting the fact that you live in a physical body. So I am going to ask you to take really good care of that physical being that is doing the work of being the vehicle for you while you're here on this life journey. That means you want to get good quality food whenever you can. Drink plenty of water, get the right amount of rest, make sure that you exercise, and that you don't just work, but that you take some time to enjoy things. And that you make sure that you're getting outside at least once a day. It doesn't have to be for a long period of time, but get outside. It's good for you. Make those healthy eating choices. Limit the amount of alcohol and drugs that you may be ingesting. And you cannot substitute anything for water. So please make sure that when you are saying, oh, I'm drinking plenty of water, you're not counting in the coffee, tea, or juice, or even soda that you may have ingested. Water is water, and there is no substitute. I also want you to know that love is the most powerful force in the universe. Love allows you to align with the inner divine being, that source of all communication, of all oneness, and of all creation that lives inside each one of you. This is not romantic love. This is unconditional love, direct from the divine to you. It is the love that creates miracles, and it is available to you, but you must recognize it. It is so important, therefore, that you love yourself enough to have a daily spiritual practice. When you cut yourself off from the source of completion, and the divine are complete, they are not trying to become anything, they are already everything they desire to be, and all they desire to be is a source of love, guidance, and support. They are not interested in any kind of condemnation or revenge or any of these lower vibrational products. They are a loving energy source. When you cut yourself off from that source, however, you are asking yourself to navigate this world alone. It is so important that you understand the fullness that you gain when you Align with the divine when you say yes to their assistance. You by yourself are X. You aligned with the divine are X to the infinite. If you're happy being X, if you're happy being less than you came here to be, then do not connect with the divine. But if you're ready to be more, to feel greater, to love fully, then connect with the divine. Open your heart to receive and allow yourself to become X to the infinite power. If you are truly committed to making a difference in the world, and those of you who are empathic really do not feel alive unless you are making a difference in the world. If you want to make a difference in the world, make it easy on yourself and align with the divine. Now let's take a look at why you matter so much. Well, you are the foundation. Not just you, physical being you, but all of the bodies that are you. This means you, the physical you, you, the emotional you, the mental you, the spiritual you, the auric embodiment of you. You are so much more than just this physical being. And because you are an energetic being, it means that you cannot contain your resonance. So whether you want it or not, your energy is speaking volumes for you out into the world. When you are connected with the divine, what you are sharing out into the world is love in its purest form. You are elevating yourself and operating from a much higher vibrational plane. It is that place of love, joy, and peace. It's the place I call heaven. For me, heaven is a state of being. It is not a place that I'll go to when I die. Instead, it is the place that I exist right now when I am walking in love, joy, and peace. Are you a fully self-loving individual? Well, let's find out by looking at what self-love is and why it's so important. First, let's identify the difference between being selfish and being self-loving. So this was something that was explained to me by Mother God early on in my walk with them, because I was always very concerned about being selfish, and it was a way people could control me. If you told me, oh, you're so selfish, then I would want to do whatever it was to make you not feel that I was selfish or not loving you. But Mother God explained to me that it is truly selfish to cut yourself off from the divine help, because then you're trying to do your loving acts, your acts of kindness, your acts of service from your humanness. And when you are not aligned with the divine and constantly refilling, it is easy for you to get worn out, to get tired, to get emptied out, and to feel, I have nothing left to give. Unfortunately, often in those cases, you have set yourself up as someone that people can depend on, and they may not have established a way to function independently without you. And then, as you release yourself from this, oh, I'm so tired, I just can't keep giving to all these people, you unfortunately create a domino effect that's negative. All the people that were dependent on you begin to fall down. Now, if you are truly self-loving and you truly want to be selfless, then you connect first with the divine and you allow yourself to fill. You fill and fill and fill until all of the vacant parts of you have been filled with self-love, until you feel absolutely magnificent. But don't stop there. I want you to keep on filling until you are overflowing. Stay connected with the divine so that you are filled to overflowing. And then from that overflow, that's how you go out and serve your community. Serve others who may not have yet understood how valuable it is to be connected to the divine. Set the example of how to do it right and how to offer really quality assistance to everyone. And because we are energetic beings, that love that is flowing, overflowing you, flowing to you and through you and then beyond you, that love is going to seep out into the world. You will carry it with you everywhere, and without saying a word, you will be a wonderful source of inspiration for absolutely everyone whom you encounter. So please, don't make the mistake I did and think that it's selfish to take time for yourself or to love, honor, and respect yourself. Instead, build yourself up first. Allow yourself to be filled, to feel good, to really feel purposeful. And then from that place, receive even more and give from your overflow. And please remember that criticism or surrounding yourself with critical people is not something that is supporting and loving you. It causes you to devolve. It causes you to constrict and to cut yourself off from this loving flow that is centered right here in this heart chakra. It's not in the physical heart. It's right here in the heart chakra where you will receive and then be able to share your love with everyone that you encounter. Now let's take a look at why you are the most important person. Why is it that a relationship really doesn't come together until you love and accept yourself? But it's not just you. It's everyone. Until we are willing to realize that if we're looking for someone else to complete us, to make us feel good, to lift us up, or to compensate for something that we don't feel is good enough in ourselves, we are not really looking to be in a loving partnership. We're looking for someone to do it for us. That's why it's so important that you do the work to be a fully self-loving individual first. Then you can be sure that what you are bringing to that loving relationship is a true gift. And you will also be sure that you will not be attracting partnerships that may ask you to be less or to do more and receive less. If you enter into a relationship and you feel small, you may attract somebody who needs you to be small in order for them to feel good. That is not a loving relationship. That, again, is abusive. You want to feel good about you, to feel expanded, to feel powerful, to really love, honor, and respect yourself. And then you will be open to attract someone else who is also loving, honoring, and respecting themselves. And together you will encourage each other to become even more. So let's just take a look at dysfunctional relationships. What are they and how can you avoid them? So a little bit of understanding about the dysfunction. I just mentioned, my cat was on my lap and I've got so much cat hair. Seeing yourself as less than. That is not a supportive or necessary role. Women will often do this. Please do not. If you are a female, or even if you are holding the female portion of the relationship, please do not be subservient or see yourself as less than. A loving partner would not require that from you. And as I said before, if you see yourself as less than, you are likely to attract a partner who's going to see you as less than and demand that you stay in that less than position. Remember, this is a lack-based mentality. You are thinking, I'm not enough. There's not enough of me to go around, or to be good enough, or I'm not bright enough, or pretty enough, or rich enough, or some not enough kind of situation. We are not lack-based consumers. Those of us who are on the spiritual journey understand that there is more than enough for all. We are abundance seekers, not lack-based thinkers. And know that love never has to be painful. If somebody is asking you to do or say or be someone that doesn't feel good, they are not loving you. You never have to give more than you feel that you are receiving. Now, obviously, this is going to change. There will be times when you're giving much more, and there will be times when you are receiving much more. So it's not about holding the measuring stick up every minute of every day. It's about the long term. Are you receiving as much as you are giving? Or are you being asked to give on the promise that someday they'll give something in return? Everyone, no matter where they are in life, has something they can offer, and they need to begin offering it immediately. Otherwise, they're probably just spinning you along, and they have no intention of delivering on any of the promises that they're making. If somebody is making you grandiose promises, and they can't do the simple little everyday things that would be helpful, they are not a good long-term relationship for you. And a dysfunctional relationship is based not just on lack, but on the lose-lose ideology. It encourages you to sacrifice. It may create resentment, jealousy, and the illusion of lack. Now, let's compare that with a divine relationship, because divine relationships are win-win, and they are based on abundance. But as I said earlier, that begins with you. It's your personal relationship with the divine. You cannot hop on somebody else's relationship. You can't ask them to share their divine relationship with you. This is a personal one-on-one relationship between you and the divine, and absolutely no one else. Everyone must open their hearts and create their own relationship. You can't do it for another person, and another person cannot do that for you. You must align with more than enough. There must be respect for both parties, and it will be an equal or more balanced giving and receiving. There will be a commitment to what's right. You will feel that you are trustworthy and that your partner is trustworthy. You will be honored and accepted unconditionally, and a divine-centered relationship is dependable. We only have a few more minutes, and next week I want to take a look at the two helpers that are going to really support you in your self-growth journey. So let's just close by taking a look at how self-love supports growth. And actually, I'm looking at the time, and they're saying to me, let's just do that next week. Really, we want to take a look at today, at what will not only create but sustain a healthy relationship. So understand first, it begins and ends with you. And there must be a divine component. This does not mean a religious component. It must mean that you and your partner are both willing to connect with the divine, to be more than you would be without, that you are willing to love, honor, and trust each other, to be dependable, to keep those promises, and to give as much as you get. You're also interested in being a loving and supportive partner that is uplifting, inspiring, motivational, kind of like a good cheerleader. You do not want to be either the person or partnered with someone who really enjoys critiquing and criticizing. It is perfectly okay for someone to say, hey, I noticed that this was going on. Can I help you fix that? But if every time you walk through the door, you are greeted with, oh, what are you wearing? Or some other kind of degrading comment, that is not loving, honoring, and supporting you. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks, everyone. It's Dr. Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, and I'm sending you all my